Hey, I'm Kat Lazo, also known as the Cat's Meow, and welcome to another episode of Engage by Uplift. Thank you so much for coming. We have Bree Essrig, we have Hannah Witton, and Steve Zaragoza.
Hello.
So let's just dive in. Today we'll be tackling this notion of asking for it. Why do you think it's so easy for society to jump to the notion that he or she was asking for it?
Well, I right off the bat, I feel like it's because it's very easy for people to just kind of assume because someone looks a certain way or because they're dressing a certain way that they were asking for it.
I think people find it easier to do that rather than think about the motivations behind why someone would be sexually violent.
Entitlement, I think, is a big factor where it's like he or she dresses a certain way, therefore I'm entitled to gawk. Yes. I am entitled to decide how they act, how they should be acting, how they should be feeling.
Also, I feel like there's so many movies and TV shows where like it's okay to like gawk at someone dressed a certain way, or it's okay to yell at that person or catcall, or like it's almost used as like a joke or as like a funny moment in a movie, and so it makes people watch that and go like, oh man, that was so funny, it must be okay to do that in real life.
Yeah.
When in reality it's not in any way.
But I also think it's kind of about how we've studied sexuality over the last like 100 or so years, like since people have been actually looking into it, and what people used to think was that men have these natural and biological sexual urges that need to be fulfilled, and so it's not their fault.
I was definitely raised that way. I was raised to say, cover everything or you're gonna get unwanted attention.
We kind of live in this like victim blame culture where it's like rape whistles, pepper sprays. There was this thing about nail varnish. If you put it in your drink and you can tell if it's been roofied. There's like a bottle stoppers that you can put on top of your drink so that no one can like pour something into it.
This is like and the James Bond of like protecting yourself situation.
But then what happens if, something happens to you and they're like, oh, well, did you wear your nail varnish? Did you do this? Why didn't you have your special nail varnish on?
Go through the entire list of things you could have done. But the truth is, like,
it's got nothing to do with
nothing to do with it, because a lot of these violent acts happen with people you know.
Yeah.
Right. How do we fight against this narrative? How do we fight against this victim blaming?
I don't know. I think a lot of it comes from the hive mind of the internet, where one person is very vocal about what to do, and everybody else will just kind of be like, yeah, we should blame the victim. Yeah. And I think it is this kind of like chain reaction sort of situation. So I feel like if there were more people who were outspoken about the opposite, then maybe that would help.
I think that, obviously, I really believe that education is 100% what is needed. When you say, like, we should be teaching kids sex ed, people freak out because they're like, think of the children. But actually, what you want to be teaching them from a young age is about relationships, about respect, about consent, even if it's just like a hug between 7-year-olds. I think if you have that basis of that mutual respect and always being like, hey, are you okay with this, whether or not it's a sexual situation, that's just a really good habit to have. And it's not just about not doing those things yourself, like not catcalling, not harassing people, but it's when you see it, like if you see your friend doing it, you're like, hey, what was that about? That was weird. And then, because usually what happens, especially if it's like a group of guys, they do it and they're looking for affirmation. Yep. And they're doing it to almost show off. And so if like at least one person in that group just goes, hey, that wasn't cool, like why did you do that? Then they're like, oh, okay, I didn't get that validation that I needed from that situation.
Yeah. I feel like there's an aspect too of like adolescence that's kind of confusing in a gray area as well, because at least I'm sure it's the same for girls, but for guys, when they're going through puberty and there's that whole like there's the hormone thing happening, it's almost like you were talking about, there's that kind of like weird animalistic, like, oh, I see skin, and like skin means potential nudity, and potential nudity means sex, and like I like that and I want to pursue that.
But it's really strange how that whole idea is so focused on boys.
yeah.
And it's like, well, girls have that too. And apparently we concentrate real good in school.
I know. I guess it's like, it must just be like I guess, because even in the animal kingdom, there's this whole kind of like male dominance. And I feel like if you apply that sort of to humans as well, because we really are just animals when we kind of boil down to it, there's this undeniable subconscious, like you were talking about, that want of something. But I feel like if you catch that as a teacher, as a parent, and you deal with those urges and those hormonal thoughts with kind of like a place of, you're gonna feel attracted to people, you're going to,
and that's 100% fine, but I think what a lot of kids in school need to be taught is like, oh, I can't concentrate because this girl has her tits out. It's just like, well, she's not there for you to look at.
Yeah. Like, because let's be real. I mean, when I was in school, I mean, I felt things sexually at a very young age. And so if I looked at a collarbone, like, sometimes I'd get turned on. So I don't think it really matters how much skin is showing. It's how you deal with that feeling.
Yeah, because as you were saying, okay, we're animals, but I think we're more evolved than that because we all have self-will. So it's about practicing that self-will. Thank you so much for coming. This has been an awesome conversation. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to answer our call to action using the hashtag #EngageUplift on social media or in the comments down below. And while you're at it, why not subscribe? Thanks again. I'm Kat Lazo of the Cat's Meow. Till next time.